Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to another episode of News Dose, where I give you all of the latest gaming news. And Nintendo posted some massive numbers today. And actually massive may be an understatement, as some of these numbers are almost unbelievable. The Nintendo Switch has been a huge success, with not only their hardware selling like crazy, but their software as well, so don't go anywhere and we will talk about that because we have a lot to go over there. Also, xCloud has run into a bit of an issue, though it's not really Microsoft's fault. It, however, will affect some fans looking forward to the Xbox's upcoming game streaming service, so we will talk about that as well. But before we get into that, we got a lot more to talk about. And today we are going to start off with a big one. Yeah, so not long ago, Take-Two announced that NBA 2K21 will be $70 on next-generation consoles. Many fans were not exactly happy about that, and it's created some concern that next-generation games will increase in price as a whole. However, so far NBA 2K21 has really been the only game to have this price tag, so maybe it's just a one-time thing. Well, I can't exactly speak for the entire game industry, but Take-Two seems well prepared to price more games at $70. In an earnings call, Take-Two CEO said that the price of each game they publish will be priced by a title-by-title basis and will reflect the quality of the experience. Now, I guess quality could be interpreted different person to person, so I guess I'll leave that one alone. He also pointed out that games have not increased in price for a very long time, even though development costs have gone up. So yeah, it sounds like Take-Two at the very least will try to push more $70 games, which could have sort of a domino effect. The thing is, if Take-Two proves that a $70 model can be successful, then more publishers might follow suit. So we will have to see how this all works out. I do understand that game development costs have gone up significantly though. This is an issue for the game industry, so that price increase may be inevitable. But one problem I think some of the big publishers have with fans is that they have a tendency of throwing microtransactions into these big AAA games. Gamers do not like that. So if there is a price increase to $70, will they then remove microtransactions at the very least? I would certainly hope so, but right now I do have my doubts that would actually happen. I mean, there is even a report out there that marketers are experimenting with TV-like ads in video games. And one game that has already experimented with TV-like ads was NBA 2K19. It just seems like Take-Two is really trying to find new ways to monetize their games, but I will ask you, are you okay with a price increase on next-generation games or not? Let me know in the comments below. Moving on, Shin Megami Tensei 5 may have just gotten a release window, and it's sooner than what you would think. See, Sega posted their latest financial support, and in this report, they noted that Shin Megami Tensei 5 has a planned release for the end of their fiscal year, which would be between January and March of 2021. Now that's actually a lot closer than what I was thinking it would release, but do keep in mind that this is no confirmation either. The reason I want to emphasize that is because they just showed this in a Nintendo Direct a couple weeks ago, and there is probably a reason they did not give a specific release date. From what I'm gathering here is that I think Sega fully intends to release this game during the first quarter of 2021, but they're being tight-lipped about it publicly, as it is probably no guarantee just yet. No matter what though, it doesn't sound like it will be much longer before we actually get to play this game, so hopefully you're looking forward to Shin Megami Tensei 5. And speaking of 2021 games, we have a big leak to talk about, and that Street Fighter 6 was originally planned to release next year. I say originally because the very credible insider Dusk Golem is claiming that Street Fighter 6 has been delayed by a full year because it was not being well received internally, thanks to an increased focus on a team mechanic. Because of this, the director Eno has been demoted, but the new director's an extra year in development has apparently been doing wonders. Now, just like any leak, you should probably take this news with a grain of salt, but I will say that Dusk Golem has proven to be very reliable with Capcom information in the past. He did leak Resident Evil 8 months ahead of time with very specific details that were all true, so he clearly has inside sources close to Capcom. With that said, this news is a bit of a mixed bag of emotions. On one side, we have a new Street Fighter game to look forward to next generation, and it is well known for being one of the best fighting game franchises in the entire industry. On the other hand, it's had some development issues, but at least it sounds like they fixed those issues. It is interesting though because it was just a couple days ago when Capcom trademarked another 2D fighting game franchise, Darkstalkers, and now we also find out that they're working on Street Fighter 6. Hey, hopefully they can make both games work, but Capcom, let's make Street Fighter 6 a multi-platform game this time. Make it happen. In other news, let's talk about Xbox for a moment because they have had a very interesting day. For the last couple of weeks, there has been a lot of speculation on if Xbox will be removing the Xbox Live Gold paywall. This is mostly because for whatever reason, their $60 Xbox Live Gold subscription options are starting to disappear from their store. Microsoft themselves have confirmed this, and it's not some random error. Now, why exactly would that happen though? Could they really be removing Xbox Live Gold in favor of Xbox Game Pass? Or maybe they could be making some changes to the service altogether in order to make it more enticing. This would be a major move heading into next generation after all. Well, the Video Game Chronicles reached out to Microsoft, and a Microsoft spokesman responded saying that there are no changes being made to the experience of the service or Xbox Live Gold. So there you have it. For the time being, it does not sound like that they're making any changes to Xbox Live Gold, and well, that makes sense because, as I said last week, from a business perspective, it doesn't make much sense for Microsoft to completely remove the Xbox Live Gold subscription. It just makes them way too much money to completely abandon. Still though, I do find it odd that the $60 subs have vanished recently, so I do think that there is something happening here. I guess we'll have to see what it is, but I think at the very least, they may announce free multiplayer for free-to-play games sometime soon. Who knows, maybe there is something bigger going on than that, but for the moment, it's all just speculation. Also, xCloud ran into a bit of an issue, and I can't say this is overly surprising, and I'll explain why. So Xbox's game streaming service did get an official release date for 22 countries on September 15th, and will be heading to Android devices. Yet right away, Apple fans felt a little left out. What about consumers who own an iPhone or iPad? Will xCloud come to those devices at some point? Well, unfortunately, Microsoft has officially confirmed that they have ended their test flight with iOS devices and are primarily focusing on Android devices. This is more than likely because Apple's closed off policies. This is not the first streaming service that Apple has kept away from their platform, as they also removed Steam Link after it launched onto iOS devices. Back then, it was supposedly because you could buy games from the Steam store by using Steam Link. But since then, Apple has also increased their foothold on the game industry by launching Apple Arcade. This is Apple's own game subscription service, so they probably saw xCloud as a threat, considering Xbox Game Pass would be direct competition to Apple Arcade. So instead of letting consumers have a taste of a superior subscription service with Xbox Game Pass, they're just going to keep it from ever coming to iOS devices. Now who knows, maybe Microsoft and Apple comes to some kind of deal in the future to make this happen, and clearly Microsoft wanted xCloud on Apple devices, but until Apple changes their policies, this likely will not happen. This is very unfortunate, but if you really want to play xCloud on your phone or tablet, then you'll probably have to buy an Android device. Let's move on to some more positive news though, because Nintendo posted some massive numbers today for their quarterly report, and some of these were so crazy, it's almost unbelievable. Yeah, so let's take a look at these. Nintendo's profits jumped by 428% over the last quarter. Yeah, I'll say that again, 428%. Now the thing is, the Nintendo Switch was already a huge success before this quarter, so to see a 428% increase is absolutely insane. Let's take a look as to why their profits jumped up just so much though. Well, the Nintendo Switch has now sold 61.44 million units in just a little over 3 years, and this kind of shows you why it's been so hard to buy a Switch in recent months. The thing has just been selling out non-stop, and one big reason would be the software. In fact, the Switch has sold 406.67 million units of software as of June 30th, 2020. As Daniel Ahmad points out, this is more software sold than the 3DS, even though the console has been out for a longer period of time. And when you look at how much each game has sold, it's beyond just success. This is record-breaking. Actually, let's take a look at some of the Nintendo games and what I'm talking about here. Animal Crossing New Horizon has officially sold 22.4 million units in just 4 months. And to put that into perspective, New Horizons, I believe, is actually in the top 50 best-selling games of all time after just 4 months. Then you have Pokemon Sword and Shield, which has went on to sell 18.22 million copies worldwide, and that's actually the best-selling Pokemon game in 20 years. The only 2 Pokemon games that have sold more is Generation 1 and Generation 2, and Sword and Shield does have a chance at selling more than Generation 2. We'll see about that one though. Even Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition sold 1.32 million units in just 33 days, and that means it's been the strongest launch for the Xenoblade franchise. I mean, that's a remaster of a game that's released on both the Wii and 3DS, and it outsold both of those, including Xenoblade 2. Even Ring Fit Adventure has been a huge success, selling more than 4 million copies. And truthfully, if Nintendo would have been more prepared, it would likely have sold a lot more. That's actually a game that consistently goes in and out of stock because it is in such high demand. And really, that's just some of their most recent releases. You also have to consider that Mario Kart 8 has sold 26 million units. Smash Bros. Is basically another 20 million seller, and Breath of the Wild is not far behind that. So the Switch is just insane. And to think that this is coming off the failure that the Wii U was. This goes to show you that you can win back the public, and in a big way. I'm very curious to see where the Switch will end lifetime, but at this rate, it will likely pass the Wii in sales and maybe even the PlayStation 4. I mean, the Switch is only 3 years old, but big congrats to Nintendo, and more importantly, to the game community for having such a great device with a lot of really fun games. Anyways though, that's it for this episode, but if you liked the video, don't forget to hit the bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you would like to support the channel on Patreon, thank you for helping make this content possible. Peace out,